these psychosomatic phrases to bring them into your awareness so that as we say them, that we can acknowledge them and we can even question what that really means. So, without further ado, let me get my list out here. Okay, this one is super common. I'm sick and tired, right? We use that a lot. We maybe would say that about a relationship, or maybe we would say that about our jobs. I'm sick and tired. So, I mean, the implications of that are pretty serious. How about this one? Pain in the neck, right? Yes. Pain in the ass, right? I always say, watch out, you'll get hemorrhoids. Makes my blood boil. I mean, oh, I understand, like, again, I use these phrases too from time to time, but you can imagine how harmful it would be for our blood to boil or be in an acidic, heated state. Something like he's killing me, or she'll be the death of me, or getting old sucks. Like, what does that actually imply, right? Like, we do want to continue to live. So there's other ways to phrase that. We can get into that later. That something is making you sick or a person is making you sick. When you say things like, there's so much going on, I just can't focus on anything, that could maybe affect our eyesight. I can't focus on anything, even though that's not the intended meaning. I can't even look at that. I can't even listen to that. I do that a lot and I need to rephrase that. So, how about I can't stand it, right? Like maybe could you imagine that could affect somebody's strength or even possibly their legs, right? They can't stand something, like a weight on your shoulders. I'm carrying a lot of weight on my shoulders. I understand that these are figures of speech, but the message that I'm sharing with you is that your brilliant unconscious mind, as brilliant as it is taking everything that you say literally. Just like, do you remember possibly as a child, um, I remember someone told me like if I swallowed a watermelon seed, then a watermelon would grow in my tummy. And like I thought that that was true. And so that's just a silly little example of how the unconscious mind does interpret things in the sense that a child would. So, as you're listening to this with your conscious mind, you're thinking, oh no, I'm an adult. I know what the difference is. I know that that's just a figure of speech. And I recognize that. I see that. I'm not disagreeing with that. But unconsciously, especially if we say these things over and over, our body is listening to us and it's taking the words that we say and not just the words that we think, because it's okay. Thoughts can be fleeting, but the words that we dwell on, those phrases that we say all the time, can truly become part of who we are and what shows up in our body. So here's one. I'm all choked up, right? My head is spinning. It's eating me up inside. I'm burning up. My nerves are shot. I say that one. Um, like a knife in my back, or this one, I think we should probably remove it. I'm falling apart, right? No, let's not say that. Um, now this next one that I'm going to share with you, um, I think it's okay to acknowledge it and it can be true. I just think that we have to use it really sparingly. But to say that something is breaking our heart, yes. Um, I mean, there's been times where I've watched people have their hearts broken and it literally broke their heart. So, I'm not saying to never say that. I know it can sometimes be a nice way to offer sympathy to someone, but I would be really careful with that one. We definitely, we don't want to have our heart broken any more than it needs to be. Okay, let's see if I have anything else on my list here. Oh, it's a real pain. That's a real pain. And often that's exactly what it turns into. So, what we can do with these questions is just bring some awareness around them. Because when we are hearing ourselves say these things and we can act as the observer and we can begin to notice, we can set our reticular activating system to be on alert for these statements, to be on alert for these thoughts, then we can ask ourselves really good questions like, let me find my notes here. Like what's really bothering me right now, right? So like say we have a bad day at work and we say, "Oh, I'm sick and tired. I don't want to go to work anymore." I Your body can make that happen for you. So we have to be really aware. So we can ask, "What's really bothering me?" And what's really bothering you might be that you're not getting paid for your value or you're not being treated with respect. Um, and they might be more accurate statements like, I don't deserve to be treated with disrespect, or I know that I am worth more than I'm being paid for. Think of how that can register in your brilliant unconscious mind and open up doors and new possibilities for you when you ask yourself, like, what is really bothering me? And then allow that to reframe what happens next. So, another question that we can ask is like if you say, "Oh, that boy, he's going to be the death of me," maybe you're talking about your child or somebody in your life that drives you crazy. We could potentially ask ourselves, "Am I exaggerating this? And if so, why?" Right? So when we kind of see ourselves making these big statements that could be potentially harmful, we can ask ourselves, am I exaggerating? And if I am, why? Right? Bringing some awareness around that can be really beneficial. Another question we could bring just to switch our state would be, what's one thing that I'm grateful for in this moment? So I guess kind of like a funny way that people say this is, well, it could be worse. And interestingly enough, that actually is helpful because it reframes that this is not this is not the worst of circumstances. That there is a silver lining, so to speak. That's a great question. What's the silver lining in this moment? Here's another great question that we could bring into our awareness. Is this feeling temporary? And you know what? It is. It is. All storms pass. The sun always comes out. So, yes, is this feeling temporary and what might change soon? So that's a great way to give yourself some hope and to expect hope, right? Because our reality really follows our expectations. Like what happens in your life um, is just what you expect. And I don't mean that on a large scale, right? Obviously, there's things that happen that we don't expect, but I always say people who say they can't catch a break, they wouldn't notice if they did, right? Okay, let's see. What else do I have for notes here? Okay, another empowering question. So maybe we say, that's making me sick and tired, or he's a real pain in the butt, or I've got a lot of weight on my shoulders. I'm burning up inside. I saw red. I can't stand it. We can ask ourselves, how can I describe this without using physical pain? Right? Like, is there a better way to describe this? Maybe a more accurate, like a more clean language way to express what that feeling is or what that situation is that is not going to be harmful to you because your words do matter. They boomerang right back to you. And you know what? Now that we're having this conversation, I challenge you to just notice. Notice as you go through your life those people that are constantly dwelling on everything that is uncomfortable or unsatisfactory, they get more of that. It's just magnified in their life. They literally are living the life that they are speaking. And if you're watching this video, you're probably a person who is only being reminded of that. You most likely already know that, but I do encourage you to notice because as you notice, you can be very careful to craft your reality with your words, to speak to the people in your life in the way that you want them to be. That's something that I'm extremely intentional about. Greeting others. Like I will say, my beautiful mother, or, my beautiful sisters, or just my wonderful son. Um, Everyone in my life who I hold dearly, I speak to them, not just speak to them in a particular way, but I address them and acknowledge them in not just the way that I see them, but in the way that I want to see them. So my loving husband, my hero, um, my bestie, right? So it's fun to play with our words. And as we speak, we're hypnotizing people. So I am a hypnotist, and so are you. The way that you speak to people absolutely, absolutely causes them to reflect back to you the way that you see them. So when you are seeing the best in someone, they're not going to want to disappoint you. I think one of the tenets of how to win friends and influence people is something about assume that the person has the most noble motive, right? Like instead of thinking the worst, even if you do think the worst, assume, that they did not steal the item, but maybe they borrowed it so that when you confront them, things can go a little bit more smoothly and they'll want to live up to your expectations of that most noble motive. So, as you're using your words to craft your beautiful reality, notice that it's affecting everyone around you and that you have the power to speak into someone's life even if you're not a big person in their life, right? If you're not one of the people in their inner circle, that person at the checkout counter, if there is any anymore, I don't know, self-checkout, talk to yourself. Um, but wherever you go, to acknowledge people and to use your language to create a more beautiful experience for you and for the people that you interact with. So I hope that I'm making that clear. Let's see if I have anything else in my notes. That about wraps it up. I do want to just go back to some of these. Okay. So, my nerves are shot. I'm burning up. It's eating me up inside. It's making me sick. I'm all choked up. It's making my skin crawl. My stomach is in knots. He gives me a headache. I can't stand it. Um, let's see, my makes my blood boil. How many of us have a pain in the neck? Okay, I'm just saying, a pain in the neck, a pain in the ass. Notice it and acknowledge it because you get to, and that's your superpower. So, psychosomatic illness, psychosomatic wellness, and today it's about psychosomatic self-talk. So, if you don't choose to change how you speak, notice it because that will help you to be more empowered about what you experience, what you feel in your emotions, what you feel in your body, and the lens through which you see your beautiful world. I choose to wear rose-colored glasses. Um, anyway, so I think that's all that I have for you today. It is a Tuesday, so if you would like to join me tomorrow for Wellness Wednesday, go over to adriannehart.com and click on the link for join me for my next group hypnosis session on Zoom for Wellness Wednesday. Sign up for the free trial. And if you end up staying with us, it's only $47 a month and it's super fluid. People cancel and start and stop all the time, depending on how life is going. So 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays for Wellness Wednesday. And what we will be doing tomorrow is installing the psychosomatic wellness, because it's okay to have these conversations in a conscious state of mind, but it is not okay to impress your brilliant unconscious mind with any of these potentially harmful or negative psychosomatic statements. So we'll be kind of like flipping the script and installing the other side of the coin, so to speak, tomorrow. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you there.